Morning. So this is where one of my favorite verses is. I mean, it's actually a favorite verse of many people. A lot to be said for it. But let's go ahead and get into chapter 3. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments for the length of days and years of life, and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart, so that you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. I mean, more than jewelry, right? More than anything, any treasure in the world. Make sure, steadfast love and faithfulness, right? Important. And then he says something here, and I've always kept this with me. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and a refreshment to your bones. Now, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Sometimes, we have a hard time trusting God. Sometimes, especially if you're new to the faith, or maybe you haven't been really active in your faith in a long time. You believe, but really stepping out and actually trusting God. It says it right here. Don't lean on your own understanding. A lot of times we want to resolve our problems so quickly. We're very hasty to try and analyze. I mean, we have Google now, and so we can look up Google. We can look up anything using Google, or Alexa, tell me such and such. And so we look for information. If we get hurt, what do? I sprained my ankle several weeks ago, and so I went on to WebMD and started looking all over the place about how to care for a sprained ankle. So there's all these kinds of things where we want to lean on our own understanding, and where it seems like knowledge is right at the fingertips. It's so easy to just not stop and pray and trust in God and wait to hear his voice on things. It's so easy to just jump in there and try and fix things ourselves. So how many of you guys know that sometimes when we jump in and try and fix a situation, we only make it worse? I mean, especially if it's a thing with a relationship, like a relationship with your family or work, or maybe you offended somebody, or you were offended, and you want to just hash it out, or you want to get something off your chest. Well, all you're doing by getting something off your chest is you're throwing it back on their chest. I mean, wait, pray, trust the Lord. Don't lean on your own understanding. Don't think you know what's really going on, because you might not know what's going on. Somebody might have just had a really bad day. You might be misinterpreting things and inventing a whole thing in your imagination. So be very careful with that, right? And then when it comes to a lot of things that are just out of our control, a lot of the finances and stuff, sometimes we're doing the best we can, and it's just out of our control. We need to pray. We need to trust God. And sometimes God will bring some wisdom, or financial relief our way. So I've always loved this verse. I gotta say, it is my favorite, because God is always amazing me how he works things out. The moment I begin to be a little anxious about something, and I think, why am I anxious about this? God, I just give it to you. And it's really incredible how he just shows up. And this verse is very true. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce, and your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. Well, it's more, obviously we're not an agrarian society, and God's saying, honor the Lord with your wealth. And of course, we don't have vats of wine necessarily. I mean, unless you have a winery. Most of us, we're not going to have barns. I mean, unless you're out where you have a farm. But what's he saying here? First fruits of your produce. What you make in your job? Take from the first portion that you're given, take that and say, hey, you know what, Lord, I give this to you. And uh, where do you go to church? Where do you get fed? Where do you serve the Lord, and where do you minister to? And are you giving there? Is the Lord leading you also? Are there other charitable organizations that God is leading you to? So really, honor the Lord with your wealth. And it's not just that. It's not just giving charitably, but just really praying about how God wants you to use your finances. If He's providing for you, there's a reason. He wants to guide you, often so you can help other people, right? And so that's always something I'm praying. Lord, guide us, Lord. Not only for ourselves, for our own situation financially, but help us, Lord, to be able to help those in need. And so that's another good one. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline or be weary of his reproof, for the Lord reproves whom he loves, as a father the son in whom he delights. I laugh because, you know what? Love, if your parents really loved you, they disciplined you. Not necessarily in anger, might have been in anger, but, it's should be out of love. Because they don't want to see you make foolish decisions. And this is the thing with God is, God will discipline those of us who go astray to bring us back onto the path of righteousness. And so it's very important that, we correct ourselves before we need to get corrected. And then moving down to verse 13, blessed is one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. She's more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. And again, we're getting back to the personification of wisdom. Those who hold to her fast are called blessed. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth, by understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the deeps broke open, and the clouds dropped down dew. I think that's interesting. I mean, the book is pre-scientific. The Bible is not a science book, but yet sometimes you look about, well, how they know about the deeps breaking open, and you go back into Genesis, says the fountains of the deep, the water that was under the ocean broke forth, and just kind of interesting. My son, do not lose sight of these. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. They will be life for your soul and adornment for your neck. Then you will walk on your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden terror or of the ruin of the wicked when it comes, for the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, go home and come again. Tomorrow I'll give it to you when you have it with you. Do not plan evil against your neighbor who dwells trustingly beside you. Pretty straightforward, right? Do not contend with the man for no reason when he has done you no harm. Do not envy a man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways. For the devious person is an abomination to the Lord, but the upright are in his confidence. The Lord's curse is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the dwelling of the righteous. Toward the scorners he is scornful, but to the humble he gives favor. The wise will inherit honor, but fools get disgrace. I mean, there's a lot in there that's very straightforward. Don't hang around with a violent person or someone who's given to extreme anger, or a devious person, right? And people that are just scornful, some of these proverbs are very straightforward and just tells you about the kind of folks that you should avoid. And so moving right along, we're going to get into chapter 4 next time. Again, if you find this helpful, go ahead and click the subscribe button, or you can download our app at Hope Chapel Westside, and that is in any of the app stores. God bless, and we'll see you again next time.